Hello, my name is Mauricio Castrillon. I'm the president of Consensus International here in North America, and I have the privilege to introduce or to present or represent Rainer Zinow. Rainer, very nice seeing you and having with us in this podcast. For those of you who don't know Rainer, he's the Senior Vice President of SAP for small and medium-sized solutions. I'm not sure if that's, I probably murder your actual. So Rainer is the head of SAP for the small solutions, right? Yes. Including SAP Business One.
Yep.
Business by Design.
Yep.
And S/4HANA Cloud or not?
S/4HANA Cloud, I'm part of the management team.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that I'm owning that one. I rather try to influence it.
So he's the head for these type of solutions, and of course he's our boss's boss, whatever you can call it, for us here in Consensus. I have great interest in this conversation from our colleagues in Colombia. Our two operations, by the way, Consensus Colombia and Consensus International here in the U.S., we're roughly 150 people, and we have a very proven track record, and not only in HANA but also in SQL.
Yep.
One of the things that I wanted to introduce is a little bit of a personal side to Rainer, because we know Rainer is, he's been with SAP for 33 years already, right?
34.
34. Oh, this is your 34th year. Yeah, yes. That's right. Yeah. So amazing. He doesn't look that age.
Thank you very much.
But Rainer started in his professional life, as far as I heard or read, back in 87?
87, yes, exactly, with a small software company.
Yeah. I started in 86, but he looks much, much younger than me. So 34 years is amazing. You've been in every single product at SAP, pretty much.
No, I've been, or I'm mostly focused on the ERP line of solutions.
Oh, right, correct.
And
yes.
A couple of years in CRM, but I didn't venture into Ariba, Fieldglass, Concur. Those ones not, but my focus has always been ERP. Yep.
So Rainer is a person who knows ERP. Yes. From beginning to end. What are the things that we don't know about Rainer? You were talking about that eventually, I hope not soon enough, Rainer is going to be transitioning into other activities.
So that's also what I'm updating my partners on. So I always say Business One forever and long life for by design, and then obviously you need to look into, am I running on the right infrastructure? You talked about the databases. Am I using the right organizational setup? Sorry for that fly. The right organizational setup, and part of that is to have an eye on what is the average age of the development team. And that includes myself. So therefore, I told my boss already 2 years ago, I won't be here forever. Please look for my successor so that I have enough time to introduce him also to all of my partners. And yeah, that's what I'm doing with Jan Pacalek. So how long exactly the whole thing will now happen, I don't know today.
We sure hope long.
Well, and I will not be gone, so you can reach me via LinkedIn or reach me via email or phone. So I will.
Listen, I don't have anything against youth. I don't have anything against youth. But experience, and specifically your experience, sure helps a lot for all of us. And of course, I don't want to retire myself. I'm a little bit older than you are. You started working with SAP with liaisons with IBM at one point.
Yeah, I started off in SAP as a developer, so got trained on assembler, started in our mainframe operating system, then for a couple of years had responsibility for our relationship with IBM. Then I wanted something with revenue. I ran our training division. For a number of years, I was the executive assistant to our founder, Dietmar Hopp.
Yeah.
So, and then 2003, I decided to join the mid-market division, and we started working on the blueprints of what we call by design today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since 2018, also Business One.
And Rainer brings all this wealth of expertise and the direction that the product is getting, and not only that, but making sure that SAP Business One is the future for small and medium-sized operations as well. And you coined the term Business One Forever.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Rainer is the Business One Forever guy for the solution. Now, a lot of companies outside SAP that are not necessarily ethical have been, running the rumor around about SAP Business One being transitioned out.
Yep.
Let's clear the field.
Yeah.
Business One Forever.
Business One Forever, so there's no end date to Business One. Maybe sometimes SAP is a bit too transparent. For example, last year we had a slide in my deck on the roadmap, and the roadmap called out an end of maintenance for B1 version 10, which some of my friends from some of the other companies interpreted as end of life for Business One. But the point obviously is after Business One comes Business One 11. So after Business One 10 comes Business One 11. And we are starting this year at the summit the conversation with you and the other partners on what should this Business One 11 be all about. So therefore, yes, maybe we could sometimes be a bit clearer, but therefore, thank you for the chance of this interview to explain what we have in mind. And B1 has many, many years ahead of it. And I think together with the partners, we are setting the direction that we keep it as successful. And we are still in the quiet period of Q1, but I can leak that much that B1 had a hell of a first quarter. And
we as well had a hell of a first quarter. We had a hell of a flash of 2023. We had significant growth, as I was mentioning, and this year has been even stronger. We grew, and you mentioned you need to have young talent, you need to have development, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we brought, I would say, about 50% in the past couple of years. We grew 50% in talent, but we doubled our consulting team in 2 years. So we're following that lead. I think that's very important. One of the things that is the buzzword of today is artificial intelligence.
Really?
I've heard about it. The good news is I don't know that much about it. Now I know a little bit to be in trouble about it. But what you don't know about Rainer necessarily is that he is not only a seasoned executive. By the way, parenthesis, you did a management master's or something in INSEAD? In France, one of the very reputable education institutions in Europe. But he also is very, very knowledgeable in technology. I've seen you demo specific solutions.
I'm a developer. Come on,
you started as a developer. I did development, but I couldn't do those things today.
I keep doing that to stay grounded and to really take the right decisions. Also, for example, 2 years ago, I went through the education program in SAP for a cloud native developer because I wanted to know what the hype about Node.js and TypeScript and JavaScript is all about. And in SAP, you can just pick up the courses, work your way through it, and then you have a decent initial understanding of, is the hype justified, or is it something that follows the Gartner hype cycle and will go away?
Just will go away.
But when you hire people out of university, the likelihood that they have a certain knowledge of these cloud-native technologies is very high. Therefore, it's an obvious skill set, and it's good to have that in your organization.
And I couldn't agree more. By the way, that brings me to the point of SAP Business One's web client.
Yes.
What is the status of that, and what progress have we made?
Web client is not yet where I want it to be. If we would have had this interview 2 years ago, I would have said by today I want to have 80% of all of the desktop client capabilities in the web client. That didn't work out. We are probably today at 50%. The key reason is that with the war in Ukraine and a couple of other events globally, we see a surge of activities of the cybercrime industry. Therefore, SAP decided to up all of its measures in the area of data security. So what does that mean for B1 and also for the web client? B1 uses open source technologies. And 2 or 3 years ago, if you were doing that, it was perfectly fine to take a library, to write your code, to test the whole thing until all of the software scanners said green, and then you did freeze the code that you wrote plus the library that you were using. 2 years ago, SAP issued a policy that is no longer acceptable. You always need to be on the latest revision level of an open source library. And if an open source library doesn't have at least 1,000 commits, it's considered dead. Right. What that meant for us was a lot of work that we had to put into the architecture stack. Therefore, I had to remove resources from web client development to make sure that my life is not too boring. The European Commission came up with additional regulation in Europe on data privacy. For example, the mandate that if you have personnel-related data and there's no need to keep it anymore, you must physically delete the records. Wow. It's not enough to overwrite them or to mask them or to do whatsoever. You must delete them. So I also had to invest there, but in 2024, I finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. So therefore, we shifted back development now based on the guidance from my partners. The partners said web client is super important, but the first thing we need is web client extensibility, right. So that we can build the things that we need. And so 2024 is web client extensibility. 2025 is then web client content, and I hope that by the end of 2025, maybe middle 2026, we need to see we should reach this goal of 80% web client.
And the comments that you made around safety, those are things that we take for granted. And here in the U.S., I don't think there's enough regulation as much, or it doesn't go as far as the European.
Well, regulation doesn't necessarily help.
No, that's true. But at least gets the conversation and gives you at least the minimum level of where things are. Because everyone knows, am I going to be hacked? Is my data going to be compromised? Yeah. The answer is not if, but probably when. Yes. And you have to have the contingency plans and in the core, the information that you say that SAP has been working on, and I couldn't thank you enough. By the way, those are the things that Rainer brings, that type of experience and technical knowledge, because you need to have that direction.
It's nothing which you typically would put on your web page that you say, hey, I have done this and this in security, because your customers will say, well, I thought you have done all of that before. But it is very important that we talk about this topic. I can tell you that most European CEOs are really scared because the cybercrime industry 10 years ago attacked the very large ones like SAP, like BMW, the household names. The large companies have improved their security measures to a level that it's really difficult to penetrate that security measures. So what that industry is doing now, they are attacking the small enterprises. And therefore...
And we've seen it. We've seen it here in the US, not only the large ones, but now the very small companies, the very small hosting organizations that host, 50 or 100 companies. Now everyone's hijacked in one single shot.
Well, and the most scaring thought for myself are those B1 customers who still run an on-premise deployment with a machine in their basement. And we just heard this morning from one company whose servers got stolen, including the backup machine. And then you're in real trouble. Therefore, I can only urge all of my customers, please work with your partner. Your partners can provide you a private cloud setup, with multi-level backup strategies. It's the best investment you can make at the moment.
And today, everyone must know that is the situation. Unless there is any type of
they should know,
regulation.
But somehow I don't yet sense that the level of urgency really translates into investments. So yes, many partners tell me that they see an increased demand, but I would like to see even more.
And it has to be, because it's not only for them but for us, because it's a challenge for the partner and the people are providing that type of technology. We tell them it's not a matter of if but when, and it's not a matter of whether you're going to afford it, but it will put you out of business. Can you afford that?
Yes.
But you're right. They need to do that.
And equally important, so make sure that your infrastructure gets operated by the partner, because the partner has a chance to set up a professional environment. Second thing, and that is predominantly my ask to my partners, is please stay as close as possible to the latest B1 release. Because especially all of the amount of money that I invested in the last 2 years only pays off if my installed base customers are really on B110, preferably the latest feature pack. Therefore, I also suggest to my partners, come up with an offering that you say, dear customer, we operate your infrastructure, and we keep you constantly on the latest release. And if we do that, we basically take a big advantage of the public cloud infrastructure into the world of the B1 private cloud world. Because if you're really close, then you benefit from all of the innovations and security that we are putting into the system.
I couldn't agree more, and we need to do a lot more on that, because we still have a number of customers on 9.3, believe it or not.
I know quite a number of customers on 8 point something, and
that's right.
I tell them that I'm really scared, but they say, but it's working.
It works.
Great.
It works. There are still a lot of customers a lot of companies that are still running on Macola, believe it or not. We have significant success migrating Macola into SAP Business, but I digress a little bit because I went away from BTP.
Yes.
That phenomenal technology that brings in the artificial intelligence, but not only a buzzword, but reality in terms of functionality, in terms of chat GPT. And tell us, what's the idea? What does that mean for our customers?
Well, if we look at artificial intelligence, in principle, you can chop it up in 3 slices. You can say slice number 1 is everything that I can do in the area of automation. Simple example, I have customers who only send out an invoice once they have the signed delivery note from the customer. So there you can build a bot which scans the email inboxes, separates the email body from the attachment, so from the picture, and you don't need humans to do that really boring job.
Right.
So that is automation. So automate as much as possible. The second thing is then you can use the power of the large language model or the foundational models. And it's as simple as take the picture of that delivery note and run it through the BTP document extraction service. And this service will recognize it is a delivery note. It will give you in a structured format, this is the delivery note number for this and this customer, that and that shipment, these and these line items, and so on and so on. So you don't need a human to look at these images. So you use the advantage of a foundational model here. And then the last step is that you then say, I post this invoice directly into my B1 system. So aspect number one of artificial intelligence automation. Aspect number two, large language model, foundational models. Aspect number three is the whole environment around machine learning. And somehow the world seems to forget a little bit about machine learning because we are so excited about ChatGPT. But right. I always say, folks, the name already indicates what it is. It is a large language model. It is not a large computational model or a large prediction model. It's a large language model. So if I want to improve predictability, then I should really look at the machine learning capabilities, specifically those ones which are part of the HANA database. And with that, for example, you can say, hey, you have in your Business One system opportunities and sales orders, let's say for the last 5 years back. Why don't you ask the system to calculate a model for you, and for every new opportunity you enter in the system predicts the likelihood that this opportunity will turn into a sales order. And that is the big advantage of the machine learning approach. It tells you, and these are the 5 influencing factors with the following weights. So if you do automation, if you do large language model, if you do machine learning, and all are available as part of BTP, you have a very complete artificial intelligence story for your customer.
And we can do that step by step, and we are adopting that. You don't have to go all in, but you surely can take advantage of these technologies. And these technologies, by the way, are available. They're the link, from my point of view, between SAP Business One, S/4HANA. It's using the same components. So we're using here the best of the best. I mean, we're borrowing very smart technology from the large SAP, as we call it, into solutions for small and medium-sized companies that need to be very efficient.
There is no one size fits all.
Right.
Some customers may have a higher need to work on their paper documents and automate that processes. Others may say, hey, I need more support from my sales organization to predict something. But it's exactly like you said. You can choose from the BTP toolbox and then assemble for your customer what makes the most sense.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Rainer. But before we leave, I mean, we talked about direction, forward-looking statements, sort of speaking. We talk about technology. We talk about SAP forever. Let's talk about, finally, Rainer.
Yes.
A couple or 3 things that we don't know about Rainer.
Well,
personally.
Well, maybe I should say that the idea of me retiring is a very scaring thought for my wife. She's a very passionate horseback rider, and her biggest concern is that one day I would show up in the stable and say, I've observed a couple of process deficiencies here. So she decided that I need to learn that I need to learn golf now. So yeah, it's.
So golf is in the horizon.
Is on the horizon, and. Yeah.
But you do ride horses as well?
Nope.
But you have a great teacher back home.
Well, I would say the poor horse that has to carry me, I wouldn't do that to a horse. No, besides that, I'll simply enjoy life. There's more than enough to do, also on the social side, and that will keep me busy.
Excellent. Looking forward to sharing a round of golf eventually. The good news is my golf is very limited,
yeah,
so we will be able to enjoy it.
We will have a lot of fun. We will play Texas Scramble, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
All right. Thanks so much, Rainer. We truly appreciate it. We can thank you enough for your leadership, for what you brought to the small and medium-sized enterprise business solutions. We thank you very much. Mauricio Castrillon with Consensus International and Consensus Colombia. Bye for now.